to be safer, and we want those assault-style weapons banned. The Honourable Member for Charlebourg, Haut-Saint-Charles. That's the problem, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister is talking about assault weapons, but we're talking about hunting weapons that you shoot squirrels with. These are not assault-style weapons. They need to have a realistic view of all the weapons they're trying to ban. They're banning too much. They're banning things that are used for hunting and protecting wildlife in Canada. The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, we will always be there to protect Canadians' safety. We will always be there to protect our communities. We will make the necessary investments, and this is part of our plan to, yes, improve firearms control to protect Canadians, protect families, and protect communities all across the country. We have moved ahead with a plan to ban assault-style weapons while respecting the rights of hunters and farmers to use rifles, hunting rifles.
Going in St. Paul.
Mr. Speaker, the Liberal Prime Minister is saying he's protecting public safety, but the crime rates are skyrocketing in this country. Gang-related homicides have not been this high since 2005. Violent crime is up by a third since he took government 7 years ago. Canadians are seeing this every day in the news in our communities, and the Liberals have now brought forward a new plan for fighting crime. Do you want to know what it is, Mr. Speaker? It's going after hunters and farmers. Sure. The tools that hunters and farmers use every day safely in this country. That is what the Liberal Prime Minister is targeting now, Mr. Speaker. So when is he going to stop this unfair attack on our hunters and farmers and start going after the real problem, gangsters and criminals in our cities, Mr. Speaker?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, we know that a responsible approach to keeping our communities safe needs to have multiple facets, and that's exactly what we're doing. By freezing the market on handguns, by investing more in CBSA so they can interdict illegal firearms coming into this country, and, yes, moving forward to ensure that it is no longer legal to buy, sell, own or use military-style assault weapons in this country, something the Conservative Party wants to reverse. We're on top of that continuing to invest in police officers, despite the fact that the Conservatives slashed resources for policing, and we're continuing to invest in community programs and safety.
The Honourable Member for Kildonan St. Paul.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister continues to deny that he's going after hunting rifles, but I'm looking at the list right now, and it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of perfectly common, reasonable, and legitimate hunting rifles, Mr. Speaker. And you don't have to take my word for it. Take hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands already of hunters that have reached out to MPs across every party in this chamber, including Liberal members from rural Canadian seats. I know that they've received these emails as well, Mr. Speaker. No one believes that going after hunters and farmers is going to solve the crime issue under this Prime Minister's watch, Mr. Speaker. Well, perhaps the Prime Minister believes that he's just trying to change the channel from his failed record on public safety. When will he stop this unfair...
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, if you want to talk about a failed record on public safety, one needs only look at the previous Conservative government that continued to put forward a supposed tough-on-crime agenda that couldn't get any of those supposedly tougher laws to actually stick, Mr. Speaker. The fact that they kept getting struck down time and time again by the courts indicated how wrong they are, not just in their legislation, but in their attempts to keep Canadians safe. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the aisle, we're focused on evidence-based policy. We're focused on ensuring that we're supporting communities, we're investing in police, and we're strengthening guns.
The Honourable Member for Burnaby South.
First-time food bank use in Ontario is up by 65%. That is a staggering number. At the same time, corporate grocery stores are making huge profits. A report indicated that Loblaws is making $1 million extra in excess profits per day. Corporate greed is absolutely driving up the cost of food. So what is this Prime Minister going to do for families in this upcoming holiday season who are worried about the cost of food? What is he going to do to tackle greedflation and help out those families?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, as the member well knows, we introduced in Budget 22 a Canada Recovery Dividend, and we increased the corporate income tax rate on financial institutions permanently. But on top of that, we've continually delivered for hardworking families, whether it was cutting childcare fees in half right across the country, making a huge difference in the lives of so many families, whether it's moving forward on a GST rebate that puts hundreds of dollars in the pockets of 11 million households, whether it's moving forward with dental benefits that ensures that all families can send their kids to the dentist, or a top-up for low-income renters. These are things concretely that will help Canadians.
Honourable Member for Burnaby South.
The Auditor General recently sounded the alarm that this Liberal government isn't assessing their steps taken to reduce homelessness if it's actually working or not. And it's an indictment and a failure of their approach to homelessness. The reality is, Indigenous communities are bearing the brunt of this failure, as Indigenous community members are 11 times more likely to experience homelessness. So after years of broken promises, will the Prime Minister finally commit to a timeline for a fully funded, Indigenous-led urban, rural, and northern housing strategy?
Hear, hear.
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, every Canadian has a right to a safe and affordable place to call home, and it's unacceptable that anyone in this country experience homelessness. That's why we are moving forward in partnership with Indigenous peoples on an urban Indigenous strategy that will support and fight against homelessness by giving the supports to people that are culturally appropriate, that are anchored in language and traditional knowledge, and ensure that the healing that needs to go hand in hand around addictions, around mental health, and around so many other things are addressed in a comprehensive way, and we will be getting it right, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable député de Sudbury.